who knew him, who known him a long time. And, you know, it means a lot to me, obviously. You know, he was such a great opponent, you know. It's what you want in sports. He had that DNA that very few athletes can ever have. You know, the Tiger Woods and the Michael Jordans. You know, it's funny. I was getting to know him more since he retired. You know, yeah, this is a tough one. I don't. I mean, we have to go play. I mean, the news is just devastating for Vanessa and his family, and there's just so many people he touched, you know. And you know, it's looking at my young players and seeing how emotional they are. They didn't even know him, you know, and it just tells you how far his reach was. So, and this is just shocking news for all of us. And sorry, I don't have a lot to say. Just have to go talk to a team before a game and tell them to play again.
I'll ask for one more and then we'll go.
That was great. We were at a function 3 or 4 weeks ago, and we sat and talked for probably 45 minutes. You know, we always like to reminisce. We would always laugh at our versions of our losses. You know, when we beat them in 2008, he had his version, and when they beat us in 2010, I had my version, and then we would laugh at how different we looked at the games. You know, this is a great loss for the league. And I thought he had so much more left to do, you know, and he was starting to do it. Never seen him happier, you know. So, I don't know. Yeah, I'm lucky that I was part. You know, I'm lucky that I, you know, got to coach and compete, you know, against him, and you know, and I feel for so many people. I mean, it's obviously his family. You know, I can't imagine. You know, Luke played with him, Ty Luke played with him, Cliff coached with him. Kawhi was very, very close with him, and so was Paul George. He meant a lot of good for our league, and especially the competitive part of our league. So, you know, sometimes things don't make sense. You know, and there's times you should feel, you know, just feel sad. You know, this is one of them, and you know, you have to get through it. We all will. We all have to be strong. You know, we laughed and joked about the mama mentality. You know, we're all gonna need it right now. You know, and there's nobody. I think everybody right now is a Laker fan. You know, I mean, we're all Lakers today. You feel for that community, for Jeannie and everyone else. I think people think because you compete against people sometimes that you don't have a relationship with them and you don't like, and it's probably the exact opposite. I think sometimes the more you compete, the more respect you have for the opponent. You know, I would say that's the way I felt with Kobe, and so that's all. I just don't have a lot to say. You know, just really sad.
There's not a lot to be said at a time like this, and the faces on players and fans say it all here in the early hours of the NBA schedule on this Sunday afternoon, disrupted by shocking news that Kobe Bryant has passed away at the age of 41. 2 games are in progress. Continue our coverage here on NBA TV after this.
Breakfast combos with all-you-can-eat pancakes? This calls for all-you-can-eat silverware. Get IHOP's all-you-can-eat pancakes free with the purchase of any breakfast combo. Or just get the 2x2x2 combo with all-you-can-eat pancakes for just $4.99 Monday through Friday.
As a struggling actor, I need all the breaks that I can get. At Liberty Mutual.
Cut.
Liberty... Line?
Cut. Liberty Mutual customizes your car insurance so you only pay for what you need.
Cut. Liberty... Am I allowed to riff? What if I come out of the water? Liberty Bibbity.
Cut. We'll dub it.
Liberty Mutual customizes your car insurance so you only pay for what you need.
Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Get moving in the new year and switch to Boost Mobile. When you switch, you get 4 free phones.
I went to ABCD camp, and he came and talked to all the kids that was there, and I happened to be one of the kids that was there, and I was just listening. I was just trying to soak everything up I could. You know, and I remember one thing that he said. He was like, if you want to try to be, great at it, or want to be one of the greats, you got to put the work in. There's no substitution to work. And I was a 15-year-old kid at that camp. You can actually find the footage of him at that camp. And in 2001, I believe I was playing in New Jersey, and the All-Star game, if I'm not mistaken, and y'all can correct me, it was in Philly, right? Yeah, that Saturday, me and Maverick drove to the Intercontinental downtown Philadelphia. And he gave me a pair of his shoes, which I ended up wearing that following night. It was the red, white, and blue Kobe's. I was a 15, he was a 14, and I wore them anyways. And I sat and just talked to him for a little bit. He gave me the shoes, I rocked them in the game. And it was the same night that we played Oak Hill against Melo. And then I saw what he was able to do the very next night, winning MVP here in Philly. That following night. As I got drafted, I still just admired him. Seeing what he was able to accomplish, winning championships, being early in his career where, he learned from the misses that he had against the series against Utah, and he just used that as motivation and got better and better and better to him winning multiple championships, and continued to admire him throughout my high school rank. And then as competitors, just seeing the work ethic that he put into the game. He had zero flaws offensively. Zero. You backed off of him, he could shoot the three. You body him up a little bit, he can go around you. He can shoot the mid-range, he can post, he can make free throws. He had zero flaws offensively. And that's something that I admired as well, just being at a point where the defense will always be at bay, where they couldn't guard you at all offensively. You just felt like you was just immortal offensively because of your skill set and your work ethic. We take it down to 2008 when we become the Redeem team. And it was a dream come true for me to be able to line up alongside of him. Just admiring him for so many years, and seeing him from afar, and then being able to be in practices with him, and me watching and learning. So on. I mean, it's just too much. It's just too much. The story is just too much. It doesn't make sense. And just make a long story short, now I'm here in the Lakers uniform in Philadelphia, where he's from, where one of the first time I ever met him, gave me his shoes, he won All-Star Weekend. It's surreal. It doesn't make no sense, but the universe just puts things in your life, and when you live in the right way, you just giving everything to whatever you're doing, things happen organically, and it's not supposed to make sense, but it just happens. And I'm happy to be in any conversation with Kobe being Bryan, one of the all-time greatest basketball players to ever play, one of the all-time greatest Lakers. The man got 2 jerseys hanging up in Staples Center. It's just crazy.
Any irony for you as a pass-first player, for you said basically your whole life to not be third in scoring on the all-time?
Yeah, because I've never seen myself as a scorer. I've seen myself as just a guy that's just a basketball player, and I've always wanted to have that triple threat mentality of being able to pass, being able to rebound, being able to score at times, and I've always loved I've always loved the excitement that I gave my teammates by giving them the ball and seeing them score since I first ever started playing the game of basketball. That's always been like the greatest thing on the floor for me. And also being able to get back and like changing plays defensively. So to be in this position as far as a scoring record or scoring list, that also doesn't make sense to me.
You never played against you played against Kobe for so long. Is there a point where you have to stop idolizing him, play against them and
No, but you also can keep the main thing the main thing. Once the game started, when we competed against each other, probably after the first time I played him, my rookie year, you keep the main thing, and you're trying to go out and win the game, and he's trying to destroy you because that's what Kobe's all about. He has zero friends out on the floor, but that doesn't mean that I'm still not admiring the guy that I'm playing against. I'm able to still prioritize and understand what's going on the floor. So, and I think I showed that when we competed against each other.
Getting a chance to play against him in the finals. At one time you said that was one of your very few regrets in your basketball career. Is that still so?
I don't want to say it's a regret because it is what it is. The game has given me everything, and I've given the game everything as well. But we had an opportunity. I think that was 2009 or 8. The year we lost to Orlando in the Eastern Conference Finals, and we had a hell of a year that year. I think we were 66-16, and we got all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals, but we ran up against a Dwight Howard in his prime, and he completely he crushed us, along with Ito and Rashard Lewis and the rest of those guys. But no, it's not a regret. I think it would have been amazing to be able to compete against Kobe in the finals. It's been great for the fans, but it's no regret. We had enough battles.
The last couple of years. Yo no sé quién le mete, pero bendito, caramba. Era así, Paul, era así,
Could have been a layup, could have been a free throw, could have been a dunk, could have been a three, it could have been a tip in. It doesn't matter. Because for me, I didn't go into the game saying, okay, this is how I'm going to do it. If it happened tonight like it did, cool. If it didn't, I really wasn't tripping about it.
What's it been like adjusting to having Kobe as a spectator in games and sort of cheering you on as you were chasing this record?
It's pretty cool. It's pretty amazing. That's pretty much how I'm going to be when I'm done playing. Being able to come back and watch this beautiful game. And hopefully, somebody still playing the game at a high level. That guy across the hallway, Ben Simmons, I can sit and watch him and see how much he's continued to grow and watch him, see him continue to do what he do. Because he's growing every day. So, I mean, it's a pretty cool thing to see him and see Gigi at the games. It's a brotherhood. It's a brotherhood being a part of the Lakers franchise, and we all root for one another, no matter past, present, or future. That's what it's about.
Last two questions.
I'm getting to every. I just see an answer phone call while I was in here, so I haven't got to all my messages yet.
Last question.
Sneakers and winning gold medals, or was there something on the court that you guys did against one another that stands out when you think about him?
As far as together?
Yeah. Just something. The Kobe memory.
It's too many. It's too many. It could be the last game we played against each other in Staples. It could be his last All-Star game. Right there at halftime, he was getting interviewed by the great Craig Sager, rest in peace. That is an unbelievable moment right there. And I went over there and hijacked his interview, so us winning the gold medal together, some of the things that us going to some of the other events for Team USA, watching Phelps or so many different things that we did together as teammates. So, like I said, I was a 15-year-old kid who was able to meet him. I was in awe, and he gave me a pair of his shoes. It's not just one. It's impossible to just single out just one of them, but it's cool to know that you have the support of one of the all-time greats that ever played this game, and someone that you admired to be like on the floor and do the things, win championships, be young, and be remembered. You know, you don't have that much time to play this game, and you know, if you're able to be remembered, you know, for the great things that you did, the positive things that you did, you know, making people feel, you know, great about what you did, that's a pretty cool thing. So I wrote on my shoes tonight. I think I put Mamba for life, 824 KB, because it's really that mutual. So yeah, appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
Just extraordinary that this tragedy has taken place after so many were speaking about Kobe Bryant just last night, with LeBron James passing him for third on the career scoring list and speaking about him at length last night in Philadelphia. Of course, Kobe Bryant formed one of the all-time great duos in Los Angeles, 3 times champions with Shaquille O'Neal, and our colleague has tweeted these words. There are no words to express the pain I'm going through with this tragedy of losing my niece Gigi and my brother Kobe Bryant. I love you and you will be missed. My condolences go out to the Bryant family and the families of the other passengers on board. Sick as so many of us are right now. Of course, Shaq and Kobe are part of the long lineage of all-time greats who have worn Laker purple and gold, including the game's all-time leading scorer Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, who posted this video a short time ago.
It's very difficult for me to put in words how I feel about the loss of Kobe Bryant. As a young boy, I met him when he was 11 or 12 years old. I was friends with his dad, Joe. We were former adversaries. Joe played for the 76ers, but he was a good friend and someone that I shared a friendship. And it's hard for me to understand now how this is affecting Joe and his wife. So to Kobe's family, I want to send my most sincere and heartfelt regrets and prayers. My thoughts are with you. Kobe was an incredible family man. He loved his wife and daughters. Ways he inspired a whole generation of young athletes.
I gotta go and pee.
¿Tienen más como un conflicto? Una orden de Nacho con conflicto.
Ya abro un casino. Como me comía, te puedo abrir el casino y dicen que me piden y después me pagan.
No sé si vamos a seguir comiendo porque esta gente pide ya comida ahí.
No, te digo por la bebida también.
No, esto estamos aquí.
Después lo cierra así. Para que si quieres dejar tu cabina, pa.
¿Son la tarjeta azul?
¿Cuál es tu nombre?
Ulises.
¿Dónde vas a estar sentado?
Vamos allí. Al lado del zapacón.
que si es dripping de tubería que es metal cromiado. No sé cómo carajo coger un boquete de moho y en el hospital no pasan en los hospitales. Y la gente dice, para, porque... Yeah, I told you.
Nothing is promised, and just, you know, like I said, live life and make memories, and spend time with one another. And, you know, I know that that's something that Kobe was able to do, and so his kids and his family, his parents, will be able to pull from that going forward. Obviously, it's a tough time right now, but that's something that they'll be able to draw from to go forward.
It's always good advice, and we all hate that sometimes it takes something like this to remind us of the importance of what's really important. Just to let you know, when it happens, we will bring you the LA County Sheriff's Department's news conference live and get the information that the professionals on the scene there have on this helicopter crash, which claimed the lives of 5 people, including Kobe Bryant and his daughter Gianna. It was scheduled for 2 o'clock Pacific time, which is just passed, but these things are rarely exactly on time. As you can see, they are preparing. The microphones are set up. Technically, it looks like they are ready to go, and as soon as someone gets to that podium and begins answering questions and offering details, we'll pass that along. Stan, there's no blueprint for how to move forward as an organization with something like this. You've been a coach, you've been an executive. How would you go about this if you're in Rob Pelinka's shoes or if you're in Frank Vogel's shoes? They've got a game on Tuesday.
Yeah, look, I mean, first of all, there's the understanding, there has to be the understanding that there's things a lot more important in life than the next game. And as Bryan knows better than most of us through what he's been through in his life, it's unfortunate and it's maybe cliche in the worst way, but life does go on, and you have to go on and go through these times, and how people find the strength to do it is going to be different for every person. And I think that if you're in Frank Vogel's shoes, you just have to give people as much space and as much time as they need, and understand things are going to be rough, and there's no magic words. I mean, Bryan knows this. There's nothing you can say to someone who's grieving to take away the pain. The best you can do, I think, is to let them know that your thoughts are with them, and you try to understand as best you can, which is even hard to do if you're not somebody who's been in these situations before. So Frank's going to learn right along with his players on how you go about this. But yeah, there's no magic formula. Look, that whole organization is suffering even more than most people around the league. I mean, clearly, as Bryan knows, I mean, Kobe Bryant had a really close relationship with Jeannie Buss. Mm-hmm. I'm sure she's suffering greatly. Rob Pelinka, I mean, was his agent.
Right.
I mean, so they were very, very close. So, you know, it's felt everywhere in the NBA, but as Doc Rivers said, I thought, great comment, today we're all Lakers. And that organization's really suffering. Their fans are really suffering, even more so than the rest of us.
Meantime, there are games happening. There are 2 in progress right now. The next one scheduled to tip is here in Atlanta, downtown, where the Hawks will take on the Washington Wizards. And this was a photo Trae Young posted a short while ago to his Twitter account. All the lessons, all the advice, every word you ever told me will stick with me forever. Thank you, Kobe. And this was a video of Trae Young leaving the floor a few moments ago and getting a hug on his way out. Can't overemphasize what a difficult day this is for so many young NBA players who worshipped Kobe when he was at his peak, and they were old enough to be falling in love with the game of basketball and to understand game, and certainly Trae Young falls into that category. And you can see the emotion there, and we've seen it already. If you were just with us earlier today, the Raptors and Spurs honored Kobe Bryant by taking 24-second violations on their first possessions of that game in San Antonio, 24 being the second number that Kobe wore in the NBA for roughly the second half of his career. And I'm sure we'll see more extraordinary displays like these, be they emotions or organized efforts to honor Kobe Bryant, not only the rest of today, but in the days and weeks to come. And I can only imagine what All-Star Weekend will have in store. This is one of the Pelicans getting ready for their 6 o'clock game against the Boston Celtics, and you can see RIP, rest in peace, Kobe, on, I don't know whose shoe that is, but that's one of the Pelican shoes as they get set to take on Boston. Oh, everybody has those, it turns out. And again, you'll see a lot more of that in the coming days and weeks, and I'm sure the NBA is already carving out time to honor Kobe Bryant at All-Star Weekend coming up in a few weeks in Chicago as well. We are waiting to bring you a news conference from Calabasas, California, where the LA County Sheriff's Department is scheduled to appear and answer questions about this helicopter crash and offer whatever details they have. They're still relatively early in this investigation. The crash happened just a few hours ago in a mountainous area just outside of Calabasas on an overcast day. We had CNN reporter Nick Watt with us earlier, and he reported that another helicopter pilot had told him he would not be flying today because of the conditions. At this point, it is way too early to speculate about what caused this crash, but that is the situation on the ground there, and as soon as the Sheriff's Department begins its news conference, we'll bring it to you live here on NBA TV. In the meantime, we have shared all kinds of remembrances and just the general shock and dismay and coming to terms with what seemed like an impossible story when we first started to see it on Twitter and social media and everywhere else. When TMZ first reported this story earlier today, it's just hard to understand somebody in the prime of life and in endeavoring to make his mark on so many different areas of business and the arts and basketball as well. This is outside Lower Merion High School, where Kobe Bryant played high school basketball in Pennsylvania. You see flowers, looks like a high school jersey. I think that's a high school jersey rather than an all-star jersey for Kobe Bryant. People paying their respects there as well. And you can only imagine how many other places that memorials will be popping up where Kobe left his mark. Jason Kidd, now an assistant coach with the LA Lakers, tweeted, "You'll be missed, brother. My thoughts are with the Bryant family at this difficult time. Rest in peace, Kobe." Scottie Pippen, contemporary for part of Kobe Bryant's career. "I'm stunned. Words can't come close to describing it. Just an incredibly sad and tragic day." Obviously true. Kristaps Porzingis, my favorite player growing up. This is just what we were talking about. So many young players. For so many young players, Kobe Bryant was their Michael Jordan when he was playing in the early part of this century. John Morant, with me tonight. It's just a lot of outpouring of admiration and just stunned disbelief at this point, because he was just 41 years old, not even old enough yet to be enshrined into the Hall of Fame. That'll happen later on this summer, because he hadn't reached the point at which he could be nominated. You have to be out of the league a certain number of years, and Kobe Bryant had just reached that threshold. He'll be officially nominated. I assume they'll stay with this All-Star Weekend. On Friday night, they'll announce the nominees for the class of 2020. Then typically during Final Four weekend, they announce the class of 2020, of which he will certainly be a member. Well, I don't know. It's hard to come up with new things to say about this horrible tragedy. We're just awaiting to hear details on this helicopter crash, and frankly, I don't know what we'll find out. It's very early in the investigation. It's hard to say what they will know at this point, but they'll give details of time. 5 people crashed today, including Kobe Bryant and his daughter Gianna at just the age of 13. And as tragic as Kobe's death is, I think it's more heart-wrenching even that Gianna's dead at that young age. Kobe lived 10 lifetimes in his 41 years. As awful as it is that he is gone, she was just getting started.
Yeah, and it was, we heard LeBron talking just last night, to have, first of all, Kobe in the news, but LeBron was talking about this, how great it was to see Gigi with him at games, and now she's gone as well. It's pretty sad to look at that picture right now, and again, that's sad for me to look at that picture, and I didn't know the guy. For people like Bryan, who played with him, coached him, were friends with him, and then his family, of course, I can't even imagine the grief right now.
Yeah, it's when it hits, you don't want to believe it. He was a father, he was a brother, he was a son, he was a friend, he was a teammate, and even his opponents and foes. I mean, you had to love this guy because he pushed you to a level that no one else could push you to. And in the early 80s when Magic Johnson and Larry Bird, actually, even before that, when they were in college, when their rivalry started, they needed each other to kind of validate their greatness in their competition against one another. And Kobe will be measured the same way against, his players that came before him and the players that played during his time and after him, as well as a measuring stick, and as something to shoot for. And as much of a superhero as he was to all of us, it's so hard to believe that he's not here anymore. And then, the fact that his daughter was with him, and as you stated, just starting her life out, and doing something that she loved to do, and they share that same passion, and for them to go together. You can't imagine what it's like for Vanessa and even the other sisters, at such a young age, to have to be able to explain to them, what's going on, and deal with all the stuff, the baggage that comes with that, and that's very difficult. So, our hearts go out to Vanessa, to Joe, Kobe's mom, sisters, everybody that share in this great loss that we just witnessed.
And it's one of those times when you can look at a family, and no matter how privileged they are, no matter how good they have it, no one is immune from tragedies like this one. The National Basketball Players Association issued a statement regarding Kobe Bryant's passing within the last year, or hour, I should say, excuse me. If we have it, we can put it on the screen. If not, I'll just read it. We are stunned and devastated by the news of the sudden passing of Kobe Bryant. Words cannot express his impact on our players, the NBA, and the game of basketball. This is a monumental loss for the entire basketball community, and our hearts are quite simply broken. We send love and prayers out to his wife, Vanessa, and the entire family. Again, can't overstate the impact that this will have around the league and on the players who are still around who played against Kobe Bryant, and there are plenty of those, and a whole different generation of players who grew up watching Kobe Bryant and idolizing him and emulating him as a player as well, stealing moves as players do over generations.
Right, and I think, you and Bryan both hit on it earlier, but his impact globally, having grown up there and then freely expressing his admiration of European players who, if we go back 25 years or so, Bryan, those guys were not thought of as highly, and Kobe was a guy who freely talked about how good the players were there. He had grown up there. He went back there all the time overseas to play and things. And so one of the things we've seen through the various tweets and tributes throughout the day is a lot of the European players talking about what he meant to them. And in this case, he may have been the most influential player above anyone else, including Michael Jordan or anyone else, in terms of what he meant to the game overseas.
For sure.
This is a video or a photograph of DeMar DeRozan, who's playing today. The Spurs are at home, and this is DeMar DeRozan, an LA guy who has talked about how much influence Kobe had on him as a young man growing up in the Los Angeles area, like so many young NBA players, James Harden, Russell Westbrook, the list goes on and on, who would be of about that age where Kobe was at his peak when they were teenagers, roughly. Yeah. And DeMar DeRozan falls into that category as well, and you can see him, what appears to be, just trying to keep it together emotionally during a basketball game that the Spurs are playing. If you weren't with us earlier, the Spurs and Raptors began that game by taking 24-second violations for their first possessions of the game, respectively, to honor Kobe Bryant, who, of course, finished his career wearing number 24. This is at the Pro Bowl today. The NFC defense apparently honoring Kobe Bryant at the Pro Bowl as well. That's happening in Orlando this afternoon. So news has gotten around not just the basketball world, but the sports world and the world at large.